Hi, for those of you who don't know me, I'm Alice. I'm represent a group of grassroots who woke up around 2020 and decided that we better get ourselves educated about what's really going on with our government and our election. So, as you can see, that we created 1millionauditor.org website aiming to share our findings and inspire as many voters as possible to be informed and constructively engage with all levels of government through our votes to elect better candidates and hold our elected official accountable. As grassroots, we learn our lesson. Okay, we don't care too much about D or R. This is not what we're about. We only care about electing the most qualified for the job. California is a mess right now. And it's like, when we are having a plumbing emergency, we're looking for the best plumber, not the best looking one, or the smooth talker that tell us what we want to hear, or the right color or whatever. Sorry, we really just don't care about that. We only care about candidates who have what it takes to fix California. So I want to set up this premise, okay? And today I have the great fortune to welcome Earl Morgan, the candidate for controller, to our virtual town hall for us to get to know Earl better. And to be honest, I've been voting for a long time, and I actually have no clue what controller does. So up to now, when it comes to voting time, I mean, it's just a name to me. So, I confess, I've been pretty bad. I would just vote blindly without knowing any candidate's qualification. And often I just vote based on what was sent to me in my mailbox. So that was really bad. Okay. So hold on a second. Let me stop sharing this. And then let me share you something else. Hold on a second. So thanks to Steve Hilton, okay, it was him that put this position and Herb as one of the key position in his golden ticket. And this prompted me to do some research. And I was shocked to realize that a controller is not only the state's chief accountant, he or she is also the internal auditor and financial watchdog to guard against fraud, waste, and abuse for the whole California. So, hey, raise your virtual hand if you agree that California is really a mess. It's really messed up in fraud, waste, and abuse department right now. Okay, so yeah, so now, okay, let's get started. So, Herb, please tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, and why you decided to run.
Well, Alice, it's great to be here. It's great to be the not good looking, wrong color candidate for state controller. That was a great introduction. So I am a Californian, almost lifelong. I got here in 1967 and I had my first birthday. I was a little baby. My first birthday at a roadside stop on Route 66. Grew up here, public school kid, public university. I'm a fighting banana slug from the University of California at Santa Cruz. I started my career in 1987 in financial services, in finance. I don't know if that's a good qualification to be the state controller. Maybe a background in finance would be helpful. And I've been, in business, blessed to be in business, married for 35 years, two grown adult children. I recently retired from the private sector. While I was working in the private sector, I also did some volunteer service in the public sector. I was the two-time board president of the San Diego City Employees Retirement System, a large public pension plan. That's relevant because the state controller sits on the CalPERS board and the CalSTRS board, so it's a very important part of the job. And I decided to run for state controller, having never run for any office ever, because I'm not very political. I don't really want to be in the legislature. I don't want to debate. I don't want to make laws. I like the rules of math and the rules of facts. And the state controller's job is just exactly that. It's a job that has very specifically defined duties. Primary among them is the prevention of fraud. And I think the state of California and its taxpayers have been the victim of a very significant amount of financial fraud over the last 5-10 years. And I have a solution to change that, to fix that. I look at this as my volunteer community service effort that I'm doing as a retired man. And I hope the citizens of our state will give me a chance to do it, because I really think I could bring some good things to bear for our citizens.
Great. That's awesome. Yeah, yeah. So in your own words, would you share with us why the controller's position is so important?
Yeah, of course. The state control.
Its authority and its limit.
Sure. The state controller is one of the 8 constitutional offices of the state of California. Of those 8 offices, which are, governor, lieutenant governor, attorney general, and so on, in my opinion, it's the most powerful, more powerful even than the governor in some regards, because the state controller is responsible for the flow of money. We have an absolutely massive budget in California. It's $354 billion this fiscal year that started on July 1st. And the state controller's job is to pre-audit all spending. What that means is, before money goes out the door, the state controller is responsible for ensuring its accuracy, its validity, its legality. And if it doesn't pass the state controller, or if it gets out and the state controller is not doing her job, that's how fraud happens. So you've heard a lot of people talk about the fraud in California, whether it's our employment development department, whether it's health and human services, hospice cares, education fraud, Medicare fraud, Medi-Cal fraud. All of this is happening in California at a very high level. There's a job that our Constitution created, the state controller, whose sole responsibility is the prevention of fraud. Clearly, Malia Cohen has failed. That's our current controller. She's failed at that. We have the highest tax revenue, the highest tax rate of any state in the country, and we continue to lose money to fraudsters, and she's just not capable of doing anything about it.
Okay, cool. And so, so Steve Hilton identified this position as one of the key positions. Why do you think that is? How do you think that this position can work and complement a governor's position to really fix California if we get the right governor in and the right controller in at the same time?
Well, Steve is a businessman like me. He's from the private sector. Like me, he's never been a politician or run for anything before. And when he and I first met, maybe, 18 or 19 months ago now, we didn't talk politics or policy. I don't know if we agree on every issue or any issue. It wasn't really relevant to Steve. What Steve said to me was he was trying to put together a management team to turn around the state of California, much the way you would turn around a company that had fallen in hard times, whose stock price was depressed. He comes at this from a business perspective. And so we had been introduced by some mutual, friends, colleagues, and we sat down, we had breakfast. I remember it well, it was in Sacramento at the Hyatt Hotel. And we talked about what was needed. And he asked if I was up for that task. And I said, I've been in the private sector 40 years. I would love to serve with you and get this done together. And he mentioned that he was going to recruit Gloria Romero for the lieutenant governor position and Michael Gates for the attorney general position. And couldn't be 2 better choices. The 4 of us get along really, really well. I think this is going to be an amazing corporate turnaround that people think. If you could buy stock in California, you can't buy stock, right? But if you could, I would say buy stock in California. The new management team is coming in. We're going to turn this thing around. We're going to turn it around very, very quickly.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's good. So, now we kind of get a sense, right? The controller turned out to be a highly technical position. And I just found out Malia Cohen, the current incumbent controller, was a political science major with no financial training at all. So in your professional opinion, why is this a big problem for California if she continue to be our controller in the next term? And if you can be as specific as possible with uh, few example that you can share with us to really get the picture across, that would really help.
Well, can you hear me okay still?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Malia Cohen is not qualified to do this job. Malia Cohen, as you mentioned, was a political science major. I'm sure she's a very nice human being, but she has no financial experience, no financial background of any kind. And that's why the state of California is getting robbed blind. She was funneled into that or pushed into that job precisely because she has no practical financial experience, no audit experience, no corporate experience of any kind. Here's Malia Cohen's resume. She's a administrative assistant to Mayor Gavin Newsom in San Francisco. She is appointed to the San Francisco Board of Supervisors, but she goes away to Venezuela to study socialism under Hugo Chavez, a man who is now in American prison for torturing people, for cruelty, to inhumanity, for human rights violations. She comes back from her time in Venezuela with Hugo Chavez. And at the time, we're in this big thing with defund the police. She jumps on the defund the police bandwagon. And since I'm on a podcast, I can use foul language.
Mm-hmm.
She's on record on the microphone as a county supervisor of San Francisco saying, fuck the POA.
Wow.
That's who Malia Cohen is. She is a radical left wing. She makes Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez look like a fellow at the Hoover Institute. That's Malia Cohen. She goes on. She has her home foreclosed upon because she decided not to pay her mortgage, even though she borrowed the money and signed on the dotted line. It gets worse because she had a business, and the business, she owed her taxes, and she didn't pay her taxes. And the Franchise Tax Board came and shut down her business for failure to pay her taxes. The state controller is the head of the California Franchise Tax Board. So she's not just unqualified, she's uniquely unqualified for this role. She does not understand debits and credits and finance and balance sheets and income statements and cash flow statements and amortization and depreciation. This is complicated stuff. In the state of California is an absolutely massive $4.3 trillion economy. We need a chief financial and fiscal officer in the state who is an actual capitalist,
Mm-hmm.
who's not a socialist, who's not a radical. The reason she was put there, the reason the unions funneled her to that position was because she doesn't understand finance. Think about that. Let that sit in, but that's why she's there.
Mm. Yeah. So they can do whatever they want. It's a yeah, because she doesn't understand it. Yeah.
She doesn't understand it, and that's why she's in the position.
Wow. Okay. So that's the eye opening. I didn't even know about that. That's crazy. Yeah. So and yet she's the head of the franchise tax board, right?
She is the head of the Franchise Tax Board. She sits on the CalPERS board, the CalSTRS board, the State Board of Equalization, the Coastal Commission in even numbered years. It's somewhere, she does all of these things. And this job is on over 70 different boards and commissions. So you need boardroom experience. You need audit committee experience. You need corporate executive experience to do any of these things. And she has none of that. In fact, she struggled so hard when she got into the position that her own Democratic colleagues pulled her aside and said, "You're not getting the job done, Malia. What can we do to help?" And she said, "Don't worry, I'm going to hire a CFO." So somewhere along the line, she hired somebody to do the job she was elected to do. Think about that.
Wow.
So $425 billion in waste and fraud over the last 5 years in the state of California. The person responsible for the prevention of fraud is the state controller. She's failed. Yet we might elect her again. It makes no
Yeah.
sense to me. How about we put in a financial executive with 40 years of experience?
Yeah, that's what's crazy about it. And I think the reason she kept getting reelected is because we had no clue what a controller really do.
That's
What kind
right.
of
What is it?
and what kind of qualifications really needed, right? Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. It's like I tell people, I say I wouldn't hire a political science to be my CPA. So I mean, are you trying to tell me that the state is having a political science major to be their chief accountant? I didn't
That's exactly what we're doing. I mean,
know.
think about
Yeah.
this. Take a look at me. Do you think I could play second base for the Dodgers?
I don't know. Are you good with baseball?
No. Look at me. I'm old. I'm weak. No. You want somebody qualified in that role, somebody that can hit a baseball, somebody can catch, can run, can slide, can jump, strong, young, youthful. That's the requirements for that job.
Yeah.
Would you like me to perform open heart surgery on you?
Nope.
No, I don't know how.
Yep.
Why would you elect Malia Cohen, state controller? Give me, I challenge anybody listening who maybe supports her because she has a D after her name.
Yeah.
What skill in finance or accounting does she possess? Give me one thing that makes her qualified for this office. Compare my resume to her resume. I will debate her anytime, any day, anywhere, at any hour. You can give her all the questions in advance. You can give me none of the questions in advance. You can ask me all trick questions. I don't care. There's nothing she can say or do that would make her qualified for this role.
Yeah. Thank you. Perfect. So now let's get back into a little bit. Like I said, most people don't know what a controller do and how that impact their life. So would you share with us a little bit, like from your perspective, what does a controller do that impact everyday life of a Californians that they may not even know about?
Well, everyday Californians pay extraordinarily high levels of taxes. And that may be perfectly fine if people want high levels of service. High levels of service cost a lot, therefore, you have to high taxes. That's not the role of the state controller to decide. But the state controller makes sure that the money that's allocated to the services actually delivers the services by performing pre audits of the spending before money goes out and post audits to ensure that we got the deliverables as a state that we were supposed to get. So it's super important role. And how does that affect an everyday person? Well, if you have kids in school, you want the funding to get to the classroom. That kind of matters. If you've been a victim of a crime and the bad person is in prison, you want to make sure they're in prison. That affects everyday Californians. You pay your automobile registration. You pay your $800 franchise tax fee. You pay your taxes, your gas tax, your lottery tax. All of these things that we pay, there are services we expect to get, or there are services we expect to be given to those among us who are in need, whether it's homeless, immigrants, veterans, schools, whatever it is, disaster relief. We expect those services to be delivered at the highest level. We should have the best fire prevention in the country. We pay the highest taxes. We should have the best roads. We pay the highest taxes. We should have the best schools. Yet our fourth graders can't read. Our fourth graders can't pass the math exams. And it's because we have a lot of immigrants. BS. Because math is not a language skill. So that's all BS. We know that. And so the controller, by ensuring that resources get where they're supposed to go, can help raise the level of services, the accountability, the efficacy of our state services.
Yes. Yes. Thank you. So So if I remember correctly, you and Steve Hilton also collaborated very early on with Cal Doge. Is that right?
We did, yeah. So this was an idea that we came up with because I believe the controller's office needs to focus on two things. One, the prevention of waste and fraud and abuse. But number two, because I have a corporate background, an executive background in business, delivering efficiency, making sure we get more government for the money we spend. I mean, nobody should be opposed to that.
Mm-hmm.
People think, oh, you're a Republican, you want to cut spending. Absolutely not the case. It's none of my business how much the legislature decides to spend. If I'm the state controller, it's my business to make sure that we get the absolute best results for whatever the legislature decides to spend. That's a key distinction. This office should not be a partisan office. People shouldn't vote for me because I'm a Republican or vote for Malia because she's a Democrat. People should vote for who's capable of doing the job. We've had this whole thing in our country where people are, rewarded or promoted for something other than their merit. Kids are raised up grade levels in school that they're not ready for. Kids are placed on sports teams that maybe they can't do, not qualify. People are given diplomas who can't read. We have to stop that. You're not helping people by doing it. I know it feels compassionate, but it's not. And putting Malia Cohen in the job of the chief fiscal and financial officer of the fourth largest economy in the world is doing her no favors. Mm-hmm. She has no idea what's going on. So it's time to bring the adults in. It's time to run the state of California. And Steve and I are fully prepared to do that. We both have deep backgrounds in business, as is Michael Gates, who will be our chief legal officer, our attorney general. Gloria Romero will be our lieutenant governor. Jennifer Hawks is treasurer. We have a lot going on. We really can turn the state around quickly.
Yeah. But but under Cal Doge, didn't you guys find a whole bunch of fraud?
We found massive amounts. In fact, I wrote a research paper that identified $425 billion in waste, fraud, and abuse in California over the prior 5 years. We sent that research report to President Trump, who then appointed J.D. Vance, and the investigation into fraud has begun. But specifically with Cal Doge, we probably found 12 or 13 different major programs, and we didn't even investigate all the leads we got. We got so many leads. I know people reach out to me like, hey, you didn't investigate my lead. Well, we're volunteers. It's limited resources. One of the just most egregious ones was this solar scam. So state of California, I forget the exact number, something like $700 million was allocated to put solar panels on multifamily low-income housing. Okay, if that's the decision of the legislature, fine. And I, as the controller, should make sure we get solar panels on roofs. I don't have an opinion. It's not my opinion, doesn't matter. So what happened is they didn't put the solar panels on the roofs. They spent 60 or $70 million on solar panels that went on roofs. And then the rest of the 650 million or so, they funneled to other nonprofit agencies.
Wow.
So this is the business model of California state government. We're a giant criminal enterprise. They're going to probably, everybody keeps saying I need to be careful when I say this, but it's true, right? This is a criminal enterprise, the state of California. Gavin Newsom is Tony Soprano. Rob Bonta is Paulie Walnuts, right? These people are stealing from the citizens of the state of California, or their friends are, and they all let it happen, this giant cabal of corruption. It is time. Californians are fed up. Most Californians could care less if you're a D or an R or an L or an I or a C. Who cares? Can you do the job? If it's finance, I can do the job. If it's hitting a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, you're going to need somebody else.
Yes. And that's one thing I was so impressed, actually finding out you were actually started doing the auditor work that a controller is supposed to be doing already, and you haven't even started it yet. Yeah. So that was pretty impressive, I have to say. Yeah.
Good. Yeah. Good. Yeah. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put all state spending online in an open source database for everyone to see.
Mm-hmm.
And we've already, I wanted the endorsement of the San Francisco Chronicle. They declined to endorse me. They said, oh, Herb has a great idea, but the idea is too ambitious. It can't be done. Well, when somebody tells me I can't do something, I usually say, hold my beer, watch this. So we went out, we built a prototype of what I plan to deliver for the state of California. I could bring it up on stage on the screen here if you'd like.
Yes, please. Yeah.
Let's do that.
Yes.
Let's start the broadcast here.
Sure.
And it's going to spin around. I guess it takes a couple of seconds. And so we built a website, and the website is called California Radical Transparency.com. See if I can bring it up. That's not it. Let's see if we can bring it up now. That's it. Here we go. So California Radical Transparency.com. What I did is I scraped all the data from the governor's budgets, the auditor's reports, the legislative analyst office reports, and a website that the state manages called Open Fiscal, which is a failed website, but there's a lot of data there. We scraped all that data and we put it online for the citizens of California. So, for example, this Open Fiscal report here is from fiscal year 23 through April of this year. It represents 131 million rows of data, 2.16 trillion of gross spending. So citizens, this is a prototype for what I want to build for the state, but citizens could go here and you can start looking at California's spending. And what we're going to do for the state is not only is the state going to have this, but every county will have this, every city will have this, every mega project like high-speed rail. This will be dog catchers, school districts, police departments. Everybody will be required to have all of their data online for everyone to see. But it's so complicated, right? It's like, look at all this. If you're not into finance, you want to, okay, I want to look at health and human services. Okay, I want to see who the top 10 departments were. I want the programs. But what if I'm just confused? I don't understand finance. I'm just going to ask Herb. So that I put this chatbot on here where you can ask Herb and say, how much has been spent on high-speed rail over the last year and who got the money? I don't know. I'm just making this up. Let's see what Herb can tell us. It's AI Herb. I'm the real Herb, in case you didn't know. And look at that. Can't give you the certain things, but across this, and then it goes into actual data and actual spending. So it says here, across fiscal year 23 through fiscal year 25 to date, transportation has spent $14 billion in net public dollars, $355 for every Californian. It's exactly why I'm running for controller, goes into it. And then you say, well, that's just amazing. So the idea is, in the old days, you could drive your car up to the White House, you could go inside and you could talk to the president. Well, you can't do that anymore. But what if you could go to a website and talk to an AI version of the state controller and ask him any question at all about anything? I've taken this to, we did two subsets of the data. One is high-speed rail and the other is LA homeless spending. So for example, we can go into the high-speed rail and we did a whole white paper on high-speed rail about, and again, you can ask questions. Let's see what we can see. Who are the top 10 vendors for high-speed rail? We type that in and we see what Herb can find for us. And Herb will come back and give us answers. And here we go. There it is. There's the vendor. Tells you everything you need to know. This is the kind of thing we're going to do. So how easy is it? Well, as state controller, I have authority to mandate the method of accounting and the method of reporting that any entity that receives our money must adhere to. So when I say to them, okay, I'm sending you money, you must connect a secure API to your financial accounts. Then whenever you spend money in any way, it'll be automatically reported in a publicly accessible database. Simple, cheap, easy to build technology. So that was just a little thing for you. I'll stop the share and we'll go back. That's what we're working on.
That's incredibly cool. It's like Yeah. So what you're saying that even though this will can track all the way down to the city, right? As long as they need money from the state, your vision is that it will plug into your system to this blockchain, and then it
Yes,
go from that. Is that correct? Yeah.
it is. It goes even further. So if a city grants $30 million to a nonprofit, an NGO that is supposed to serve the homeless,
Yeah.
well, that NGO is also under my accounting jurisdiction. So I will require those NGOs that are delivering services to adhere to the same exact thing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, this is like our dream come true. We have a group of people that we're doing it, try to do this manually within our current board of supervisor, try to understand their finance. And
Mm-hmm.
it's a mess. We couldn't understand it. And it's kind of coincide to initially I have this is my dream come true.
Mm.
Remember I have a 1millionauditors.org. And the whole
Yes,
intention is where every voter can become an auditor if you give them the data.
I
So
I love
pretty
your
much fit it.
website. I love that concept. I think it's fantastic. I really do.
Yes. Yes. So that's wonderful. And so okay, let's change the topic a little bit toward small business. Okay. So my
Sure.
my husband and I were a small business owner who owned a restaurant, and now we're starting another software app business. And I have firsthand experience on how horrendous it is to have a business in California, honestly. Okay. So, what can you do as a controller to help California small businesses?
Well, there's two big problems for California. There's many problems for California businesses, but one is cost and the other is regulation. And regulation ultimately becomes a cost.
Yeah.
So, as the person who, first of all, Steve and I are on record, this annual $800 annual franchise tax board fee has got to go. We want business to want to be here.
Right.
So you talk to people all the time. Oh, I formed an LLC for my business, or I bought an apartment building. I formed an LLC. Great. What state did you incorporate in? Nevada, Delaware, Wyoming. Nobody ever forms a California entity. Why? The $800 LLC fee or franchise tax rate. It's ridiculous. So number one, we want to work with the legislature to get rid of that.
Mm-hmm.
That's number one. Number two, the state controller is the head of the franchise tax board. And as a business owner, you have to deal from time to time with the franchise tax board. Well, right now, if you call the franchise tax board because you have a problem, you're going to get somebody picks up the phone and says, "Hi, my name is Fred." And you're like, "Well, okay, my name is Alice Cow. What is your last name, Fred?" "Well, we don't give out our last name." "Okay, Fred, what's your phone number? How do I get a hold of you to take this conversation to the next level?" "Well, we don't give out our phone number, ma'am." "Okay, well, how about your email? Can I have your email?" "Well, we don't give that out either, ma'am." And so what happens is you try to get something resolved through the franchise tax board and you can't, "Oh, it's 4 o'clock. I need to go home." By the way, half of those people you're talking to are at home in their pajamas,
Mm-hmm.
looking at a laptop with access to your social security number or your employer identification number, your financial records in their at their kitchen counter. This is unacceptable. So when I take over the franchise tax board, first thing they're going to do when somebody answers the phone is they're going to say, "My name is Herb Morgan, first and last." They are going to give you a case number every time you have a call in and you need help as a business. That case number will be in the system. So anybody calls, you talk to anybody later, they can reference the notes. They will
Mm-hmm.
give you their phone number. They will give you their email address, and they will work from an actual office, and they will not have access to your personal information while sitting at home in their pajamas at their kitchen counter. That alone will make doing business easier in the state of California.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, I want to back up for a second on your blockchain idea. Did you
Yes,
put your own campaign
I did.
on
So
on the that? Yeah. You want to
that
talk a
isn't
little bit about that? Yeah.
yeah. So if you go to herbmorgan.com and then you click on the button. It's right in the front and center called California Radical Transparency. You will see what I talked about earlier, which is putting all the state spending online for everyone to see. Great idea. But you will also see my campaign financial ledger. So, for example, if we hang up here tonight and you would like to make a donation to the Herb Morgan for Controller campaign, you go to herbmorgan.com, you make that donation. 24 hours later or thereabouts, you will see online that donation. If I spend money because I had to fly, I'm flying to Sacramento in the morning, so I have to pay with my credit card to get on Southwest Airlines and fly to Sacramento. You will see that transaction. And so I am the first candidate in world history to put their campaign entirely online, completely open for everyone to see. And that's what I want to bring to state government.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So what are 3 things that's your priority when you are elected as our controller?
Well, at number 1, we're going to actually conduct financial audits. The current state controller, Malia Cohen, socialist comrade Malia Cohen, her own spokesperson, Bismarck Obando, is on record, on camera, saying we don't do audits. We don't want to do the audits because the politicians don't want us to do the audits. So number 1, we're going to do the audits. Number 2, we're going to put all state and subsidiary spending online in an open source, searchable database for everyone to see. And number 3, when appropriate, when legal, I will withhold funding, even funding authorized by the legislature, for entities or agencies that are out of compliance with the accounting standards I set or that have audit deficiencies that have not been corrected.
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
But, you know, to get this done, Alice, it's an uphill battle in California. Let's be honest. We are in the minority, those of us that are speaking in common sense here. And I need help to do that. This is not Herb Morgan's initiative.
Yeah.
This is the free-minded, freedom-loving people, the patriotic people of our state. This is something we do. My role in all of this is to be their spokesman, to be their advocate, to be the instrument of their desire to make this happen. But I can't do it without their support. I need people to get on the site, herbmorgan.com, chip in $20, $1,000, 10,000, whatever, 9,800 is the maximum, whatever they can do, because that will fund what we're trying to accomplish to turn this state around.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So is there any obstacles? And with that said, is there any other obstacle you see that will prevent you from getting elected? Well,
look, I think we have a very good chance. So the state controller is the contest, is the race where Republicans always do the best. Mm-hmm. In 2022, we got 45% of the vote. That was higher than any other of the elected offices, 45%. So it's the most winnable of the statewide executive offices. If we're going to win one, it's this one. Mm-hmm. And so that's the key. The key is we've got to get the vote out. Republicans need to vote. Centrists need to vote. No party preference needs to vote. And all of you that are out here that are listening that might be Democrats, I need you to vote. And I need to just ask yourself, am I voting straight party line, or am I going to vote on skill, experience, qualifications, acumen? Because I don't set policy. Mm-hmm. So I think there's enough Democrats and no party preference voters out there that are ready to vote for Herb Morgan that we're going to get this across the finish line on November 3rd. Awesome. Okay, so is there anything else that I may have missed that you would like your voters to know? Well, I think that if you please donate, but if you can't, you still can help. And it's very valuable if you not only follow me on social media at Herb Herb4Controller, the number 4, at Herb4Controller. But every time we post something, if you can comment, you can even comment, Herb, you're ugly. Herb, you're not funny. Herb, I don't like you. But the more you comment, the more our algorithm values click higher. And if our algorithm values click higher, we get more exposure, and that's money we don't have to spend.
Right.
So that is just critical. You can help us. I want financial support, but that just going online and commenting and retweeting and reposting. But the most valuable is commenting. Say it in, if you speak another language, do your comment in another language. All of that is helpful.
Oh, yeah? If you put it in another language, would that help?
Yes, absolutely. The more the merrier. You know, we have 39 million people in California. We speak a lot of languages. I only speak one, I'm embarrassed to say. But there's a lot of people who, you know, they need to read, you know, in Spanish or Tagalog or Hindu or whatever it is. So comment in any language. Yes, please.
So I mean, I'm more familiar with X, which is where I spend a lot of my time on. What other social, are you on Facebook and other stuff?
Yes, we're on every social media platform. So TikTok, Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Instagram, and X. And there's probably one I've forgotten, but yes. And it's always the same handle, at Herb4Controller. Follow, like, retweet, repost, and comment.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So now I'd like to open up to anyone who has question for Herb. Please raise your hand. I will call on you, or Ming will call on you, and Ming will unmute you. Anybody else have any other question that I may have missed?
This is Dawn. Can I ask a question?
Sure. Go ahead, Dawn.
So I'm sorry, I had to be really late to the call, so I might have missed this, but I am so curious, has the state of California gone after anyone who frauded during the whole COVID the employment development EDD? Did we try to recover any of those funds? And is that even a possibility if you get into office that we could still go after people and get them to make restitution?
Don, such a great question. So just so everybody's aware, the EDD is the Employment Development Department. And during COVID, we suspended verification of eligibility as a state. So anybody could apply for unemployment funds, and they would get them automatically. No verification of eligibility. We even advertised this. So what happened is everybody applied, including a lot of our prisoners. The state of California lost $55 billion to fraud in this endeavor. It was absolutely horrific, unconscionable. So the question is, can we go after those people for restitution or criminal prosecution? And the answer is really better for the Attorney General. I don't know what the statute of limitations is on this amount of fraud. If it's assuming it's 7 years and this happened in 2020 or 2021, then we're getting obviously closer to that. But I would defer that to Michael Gates, who's our Attorney General candidate. I will tell you, though, the other part of your question was, has anybody been arrested? And the answer is no, not by State Attorney General Rob Bonta. The only arrests for fraud that have happened in California that are high profile that we're aware of have all been conducted by First Assistant U.S. Attorney Bill Essayli, who's a U.S. attorney, not a California State Attorney General.
Awesome. Thank you so much for addressing that.
Certainly.
Okay. She?
Yes. Hi.
Hello,
first
She.
of all, hi. I'm also in the San Jose, Saratoga area. First of all, your words are music to my ears.
Oh, thank you.
Loved everything you said. Loved also the research you've done to investigate the fraud. I think I've seen some of that information. My question is, I have gone to the state website to look for audit reports. At the point, I was looking for something specific to our county, Santa Clara County. Are there any audit reports, results, anything there. I didn't see much of anything there for us to. There's big gaps between years, and there's the results as the results were like almost nothing. So my question is, if you are in this position, how that will change?
Well, it should be there. If it's not, you can go on directly on the Santa Clara County website. I would assume that their auditors would put up those audit reports on an annual basis. They certainly should. As the state controller, I look at the way we conduct financial audits now as being very antiquated, very out of touch with modern technology. So what I intend to do is, I know we have these requirements to do it, what's called a CAFR. You have to get these audits, and they don't give details of the spending. I want to go to a granular detail level, and I want it every single day. I don't want to be auditing 2024 in July of 2026.
Right.
So by putting every transaction online every day, we can create any report we want, right? That's the beauty of AI. That's the scalability of AI and the technology that's now at our fingertips. So we can enable people, users. You have a curiosity with Santa Clara County, you can just go there, and if every bit of transaction is there, everything that ever happened, you could type into your AI agent, hey, give me a cash flow report for the facilities department of the County of Santa Clara for the 3-week period ended May of 2026. Like, you could go and it would do it. And you could say, I want line by line transaction data of every dollar spent, and snap your fingers and it would be done. So if you have that level of granularity and you have AI tools that assist you, why do you need a traditional audit anyway? So in the end, once we can implement this, we're going to find ways to eliminate old ways of doing business that aren't as productive or efficient as the new ways, and it will save more taxpayer money while delivering better services. Thank you for the heart, Olivia, that just went up the screen. It's really nice.
I would have loved that. We've used Grok, Gemini, whatever, to do researches like that, like fundings to the NGOs. It's still very difficult. We found some things, but still very difficult. But one of the reasons I was looking for audit report is also to see if state had done anything about it. That was the other reason sort of I was looking for. If there's audit report, will be information like that there?
It will be. Everything is required to be available to the public now. All audits are generally out there. If you actually go to our website, CaliforniaRadicalTransparency.com, much of the data that we have there is actually footnoted on my site with links to all the different auditor reports of all the different agencies and entities.
Great.
Oh, wow.
I will look at those. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you, Ji.
Anybody else that have question? So, okay, I have a question. So I love your radical transparency, but isn't this what the current government and the supermajority would be most afraid of? I mean,
yeah, I think they're very afraid, because I'm convinced that 20 to 30% of all government spend right now is victimized as leakage or theft or fraud or waste or inefficiency, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And so if you're one of the people who's benefiting from these inefficiencies, you should be very scared. Mm-hmm. Because I don't think when they decided to commit the crimes they've committed, I don't think they imagined the technology that would be at our fingertips in the very near future that we have now. So I'm going to build this thing called the Transparency War Room. Every transaction, statewide, countywide, citywide, agency-wide, every transaction every day written to a secure public database, blockchain, immutable. Mm-hmm. Easy thing to build. Now, if you were a bad actor and you've been doing that for the last 10 years, you thought you'd never get caught because there was so much data, so much volume. The odds of you being found out, the odds of you ever being audited were minute. So you made a calculated decision to defraud the citizens of the state of California. Well, what if instead of having 2,000 employees in the state controller's office, I had 20 million employees? Well, of course, I would never have 20 million employees, but that's what AI brings. The equivalent of tens of millions of employees. We can process more data in a day than 1 million employees could process in a year. So instead of me as the state controller digging through this haystack looking for problems, I will be teed up and queued up every day on my dashboards, areas for humans to investigate to determine if fraud might exist. But these are what we would call warm leads in business world, right? This is highly probable, highly likely fraud. So the people that have been these bad actors for years, they made these decisions to be bad actors based on the technology then. Now the technology is different and it will get them. We are going to get people, and with Michael Gates as Attorney General, we will put them in jail.
Yes. Yeah, that's why I hope people can see the relationship of these 4 different positions in the golden tickets, why it's so important, right? That we need to get as many, if not, I mean, ideally all 4 of them in there. That's how we fix California, right? You know,
yes,
a whole government's approach, not just one corner or the other corner. So anyway, okay. So Cindy, you need to, yeah, go.
Yeah, thank you. And I really impressed what I heard today from Morgan. And I just can, I definitely very appreciate you talking about prevention. And so we were not just, thinking about how do we going to clean up later, and prevention and efficiency. And I amazed how you already thinking about using AI and to implement to your efficiency and transparency. And I think that will bring a big change. And also I'm glad that you all mentioned about we really need all four of the golden ticket, the mention about the critical position that not only governor, attorney general, and also the lieutenant governor, and it's all, even treasurer. Well, the whole team need to be there to help each other to accomplish this great job. And my question is, because we're working locally and try to find all the budget hole from the Santa Clara County, and we usually how we dig out the data, the information is CPRA, and we found that actually they try all they can to either tell us there's no such reports, or the reports we got finally waiting for many months, and the report is being heavily redacted. So I just question about how do you get all the data? Because even we use Grok or other.
Yeah, so let me give you the answer to that,
yes.
Cindy. So how do we get the data that we need?
Yes.
So the beautiful thing about being the state controller is you have the authority to mandate the method of financial reporting and the method of accounting. And I will condition the release of funds. I'm also the person that releases the funds to these entities or agencies or divisions or departments. So I will require anybody receiving state money to sign up to a secure API that links their bank accounts and their credit card accounts to an open source ledger. So that once they don't have to give me the data will give itself to me. Anytime a transaction takes place in their account, it will be recorded on a public ledger. If they don't want to do that, they will not get any money. So I have the ultimate power here. It's the most powerful job in state government that nobody understands and nobody knows what it does. Super excited about it.
Can they, I have a question.
I have
Can
a
they-
question too, Alice.
Yes, sorry. Can I fight you? Can they fight you about try to close, to prevent you from doing that using legislator?
Well, no, the legislature cannot change the powers of the state controller. The state controller's powers, there are two types of powers any executive officer gets in California. They're either constitutional powers. The majority of my powers are from the Constitution. Therefore, the legislature may not change them. Or they're statutory, meaning they are given by the legislature, which the legislature could change.
Mhm.
The other thing they can do is try to defund the office.
Yes.
Well, okay, let's say the legislature tries to defund the controller's office. Well, that's just an admission that they're guilty of fraud. And I just don't think the citizens of the state of California will put up with that for even 1 minute. And you know what? There's enough good people in the state of California. If we called on them and said, hey, step up, help us, I'm sure we could raise whatever we needed to get it done and get the right thing done for the state of California.
Got it. Okay. Bob White.
No, this is Robert Hobbs.
Oh, Bob Hop. Okay. No, Bob. Okay. Bob Hop first. Yeah. And then Bob White.
Yeah, Herb, I have one question. After hearing all this, you're totally qualified. You're a super intelligent person. I'm odd, if that is any compliment to you.
Thank you.
However, my question to you is hearing you talk about what your powers are and what you can do, am I assuming that you have to have a compatible attorney general to make this happen?
Mhm.
No, it's a nice to have. And I will tell you, Michael Gates and I are quite compatible. We're good friends. We look forward to working together. I 100% support his election as Attorney General. That being said, the powers are not contingent on any other office.
Wow.
The state controller is the office Republicans, my party, are most likely to win. We might win 7 offices. We might win 4. We might win 2. But if we only win 1 office, it will be controller. We always get the highest percentage of the vote in this office. And the duty, and I report to nobody. I don't report to the governor. I don't report to the attorney general. We work together, but I report to the voters and the citizens of the state of California. This is a constitutional executive office.
Well, so if you find a anomaly, then if you report it, then it and you prove the anomaly to be correct, then it's a done deal, is what you're saying?
Yeah, so if there's criminality, let's be more specific, and I go to the existing attorney general and I say, here's evidence of criminality, and the existing attorney general says, I don't want to prosecute it. Okay.
Okay.
Well, where else can I go? I can go to one of our many district attorneys, maybe. I can go to a U.S. attorney, maybe. There's a lot of different places we can go.
Okay, so but I guess the original question is if you have a compatible attorney general, does that help you out with your position?
Oh boy, does it ever. And that's why we need Michael Gates in there. It would help me tremendously to have a friend who I could tee up cases to who can prosecute, for sure.
That was kind of my question then.
Yeah.
Okay. How about Bob White? You have a question? Bob White? You have your hands up? No? Anybody else? Last call. Okay. Yeah. All right. So nobody else, right? Okay. As you can see, right, I believe the controller's position and Herb Morgan are probably the best kept secrets that the current radical supermajority government do not ever want you to know about. And I hope this virtual town hall help change this reality, right? Just like, none of us know what controllers do, that's a starting point, so I'm really glad Herb educated us on this. So if you find the information presented tonight useful, please share with your friends, invite them to not sit out this November and vote. Okay? And running a statewide position is very expensive and need a lot of inspired volunteer to help spread the word as well. So I'm gonna put up hold on 1 minute.
Alice,
Yes?
you can hear me now?
Oh yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh boy, I'll tell you, I've had more trouble with my microphone. Sorry about
Okay,
that.
good. I thought you didn't, I thought you didn't have any question, and go ahead.
No.
Go ahead, Bob.
Well, just a quick question, Herb. You're a great candidate. You certainly fit the bill we need on the golden ticket. Question is, are you going to be able to get a debate with the current controller?
Well, let me ask you this, Bob. Would you get in the ring with Mike Tyson?
Yeah, crazy question.
You wouldn't. And I don't know, maybe you're a good fighter, Bob. I don't know.
Yeah.
But Malia Cohen won't get in the room with me. Sacramento Bee had a Zoom call for the two candidates to get on, and they were going to ask us each questions. We weren't even going to debate, to seek the endorsement of the newspaper. She refused to participate even in an online forum. Other newspapers sent out questionnaires. She doesn't even return the questionnaires that they're seeking. I've never seen a candidate more unqualified for service than Malia Cohen. She cannot debate me because she's not capable of debating me. That being said, here is my proposal to Malia Cohen. I will debate you anywhere, anytime, in any format, with or without notice. You can give Malia all of the questions in advance, and you can give me none of the questions in advance, and I will meet you on the debate stage. She will not take that challenge.
I don't.
How are you going to get your word out? I mean,
Yeah, get your word out.
I'm on the Alice Cow podcast. What are you talking about?
Yeah, well, thank you, Alice, for doing that. But
There you go.
We got
There
13
you go.
participants.
Right before this, I was on the Ken Liebolt show, or I can't ever pronounce his name. KFI in Los Angeles. 500,000 listeners today. We had a press conference today in Pomona. KABC was there. We're doing massive media. I'm flying up to Sacramento in the morning. We're doing an interview on the steps of the Capitol. We are all about media, traditional and social. But as you know, it takes money. So I encourage anybody, any amount, get on that website, herbmorgan.com, and chip in a contribution.
How about
Absolutely.
the Phillips show, John Phillips?
I have not been on there yet, but Mr. Phillips is listening. I'm ready. Let's go.
Yes. So the key one is that we cannot sit on the sideline, okay? So if you would like to financially support our golden ticket candidates, please donate to Herb Morgan and other 3 candidates directly. I just shared my screen that have Herb Morgan's information. Okay, you can volunteer and you can donate there.
Will do.
And if you're inspired to get your hands dirty, please volunteer. That you go to the website, they have a way to do it to get the word out. I know all of you who showed up today are going to vote. That's not the issue, okay? But for us to win for sure, though, we need to drive out those voters who tend not to vote in midterms. And that's where we need a lot of help from you all, right? So that silent majority who don't vote do not help us one bit. We need you to be loud and proud to save California, right? So you need to really be loud and proud about the candidate we have this midterm. I'm impressed with almost all of them. Please donate when you can, okay? If you can volunteer, we need volunteers, and you can contact the campaign or me. I usually have some idea that doesn't take too much of your time to help them if that's what you prefer. So Cindy was asking, right? The video will be on Happy Goose YouTube and Rumble channel. I say within a day or so, but I'm good. I mean, as soon as I get it, I'll process it and I can put it up onto my YouTube and Rumble right away. I just share another screen that it has my YouTube channel, my Rumble channel, and the website. You can check it out. That hopefully I can put Herb's blockchain information in it on this website, 1millionauditor.org. And then if you have any questions, just email me. I also cast the information. I mean, while I was working on this, I didn't realize we're only 67 days to early voting. I don't know if you guys are aware, it's nuts. Okay? We're 96 days to election day. So please lend your hand however you can. Please take the time to snap a photo or something for your future reference or all the information. Is that good? Anything else?
Thank you.
Thank you
Yes.
all for coming.
Good night, everybody.
Thank you,
Thanks for
Herb.
having me. My pleasure.
Thank you, Herb.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thanks, Herb.
until next
Herb.
time, we want you to
We
win,
will
okay?
support you. We will support you.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye, everybody.
Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.